Welcome back to the Vikings Playbook. I'm your host, Steve Hoikkala. And again, your Sunday starts here with us every Saturday at 9 p.m. Central Time. We're getting closer and closer to training camp. Got another great guest on tonight, and that's going to be no other than Kris Shewokis. And he was my first guest, actually, when I started doing Vikings Playbook. So I'm really happy to have Kris back on with me. And Kris, I'm going to go ahead and bring you on the stage and we're going to get started. But make sure you guys are following him on X at SKOL Gallerhorn. Again, make sure that you're following Kris and checking out everything that he's got going on social media. With that being said, Kris, how are we doing tonight?
Hey, not too bad. Thanks for having me back on.
Absolutely. And Kris, we got a good show for everyone, but I want to make sure that I remind them to go ahead and make sure that they're following us on X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. But of course, make sure that you're following on YouTube because if you want a chance to win a COA Jordan Addison autographed jersey, the only way to do that is to make sure that you're subscribed to Vikings Playbook. So we're getting closer. I think we're about 45 subscriptions away. So make sure that you're sending this out to your friends and reminding them to go ahead and follow us on YouTube as well too. We're getting ever so close to doing that giveaway. And yeah, I'm excited for it because after we do the Jordan Addison jersey giveaway, we have some more giveaways planned. So make sure that you're doing that. All right, Kris, let us know what's going on with you, how you been. It's been a while since we've talked, but I think the last time I had you on was the draft. So how have you been? How's everything going?
It's been good, quiet, the lull before the season starts. I got a 5-month-old now running around the house, so I haven't been as active
Congratulations.
on X, as much as I'd like to be. But now that the season's ramping up, I'm ready to get into it. Let's go. I'm ready for the season to start.
Yeah, kids always make it a little bit more difficult sometimes to just kind of hop on and do some of these podcasts and streams. I know some of the other content creators. I love trying to jump on their streams, even just comment a little bit on what they have going on, see what they're talking about. I'd love to jump on more with them too. It's just sometimes it's just you're spending family time, and when you got young kids. They keep you busy for sure. So I totally get that 100%, Chris.
Yeah, they dictate the schedule.
Yeah, they absolutely do. So we've had a few different topics that I'm wanting to cover tonight, and I think it'll be interesting. And it sounds like you've done a little bit of research too. So we'll talk about those too. But none of this would be possible without the sponsors that I have, and I want to make sure that I give them a quick shout out. Starting with That's Badass Wood Art. Vikings Playbook is brought to you by our podcast sponsor, That's Badass Wood Art. Go to their website and use code PLAYBOOK to receive 10% off on any products on their website. That's pretty badass. Also, make sure that you're checking us out on purpleptsd.com. Make sure you hit that follow, subscribe button on X, Facebook, and checking out us on the website. Great writers writing every day. For more Vikings news, check it out, purpleptsd.com. This podcast is also streaming on purpleptsd.com. So thank you and shout out to them. Kris, we're going to jump into it. And as always, if you're following, especially on YouTube, I can see your comments. So make sure if you're watching on X, switch over to Vikes Playbook on YouTube. That way I can see your comments. X doesn't allow comments from YouTube streams. So make sure that you pop over to Vikes Playbook on YouTube. That way we can see your comments and questions. So if you have a question for myself or Kris, make sure that you put that in the comments. And then towards the end, we're going to go ahead and do a card break. So I got a new pack that I haven't debuted on Vikings playbook before. So at the end of the stream, if you're still with us, we're gonna do a card break. You have a chance to win at the end of the stream. So, Kris, we're gonna jump into the very first topic, and that's gonna be Steve Smith Jr. Senior, sorry, Steve Smith Senior, and he wanted to talk about Kyler Murray and some of the comments that he had. And I think the easiest way for me to do this is, uh, I was trying to break down this video, and I think just playing the quick 2-minute clip on what he had to say is probably the easiest way to do it. And I was having issues before when I jumped on trying to share this. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. That way you guys can see my screen because my screen recorder is totally not working. So here we go, guys. Let me get rid of that overlay here and let's play it.
Right? You cause havoc. So there's havoc plays for defense and explosive plays for offense. And when you don't have an explosive play that teams worry and concern themselves about, you create a little bit of claustrophobia for yourself. And then all of a sudden you start you're trying to grab straws and pick anybody and anywhere to get you out of this box that is closing in on you that you don't want to be inside. And so Kyler Murray throwing the ball deep over the middle of the field on a consistent basis, right? Kyler Murray historically, short throws over the middle, man, completes 85%. He's a highly efficient, man, processes things fast, all that stuff. But this offense that they're running, the Minnesota Vikings, a lot of the stuff that they do, how they make their hay, is wide open throws in the intermediate area of the field, 10 plus. And my man is like, yeah, nah, we ain't doing that. Shut up.
That's the question, Steve, then.
All right. So going back to this topic with Steve Smith Sr., Kris, initially your thoughts on the comments from Steve Smith calling Kyler Murray a check down Charlie. Do you think that's accurate, or is there something else there?
I think there's more to it than that. I don't think it's that simple. I mean, as soon as he was picked up by the Vikings, that's all we heard about is, he can't make the deep passes. He's not a good fit for Kevin's offense. I did dig into it a little bit more because I had seen a post about the net average pass in the NFL. So I went and dug it up a little bit. Great thing about AI these days is you can dig up stats pretty easily. Over the past 5 years, the average in the NFL has been 6.4 yards net average pass. Kyler Murray's at like 6.1, 6.2. So it's really not that far off as far as, the NFL average. So I don't think Steve Smith's, comments really hold that much weight. I don't think it's very, very, very accurate.
So the interesting thing is, and this is just my observations, and I think some other people are starting to see it as well too. So we've had this break between mini camp and training camp, and all we have heard since Kyler Murray signed was how great Kyler Murray's addition to this offense is going to be, as far as bringing, former two-time Pro Bowler, how big of an upgrade he is from JJ McCarthy, so media, former players have just been heaping on the praise, right? And now it seems like from mini camp to training camp, somewhere in there, I don't know if we just needed something to talk about, and it's almost like for a period of time here, it's almost like it's flipped on its head, and we're hearing more like, hey, it's almost like somehow without either of these quarterbacks throwing a pass in training camp since mini camp, it's almost like now like some pro JJ stuff started to rise, and now we're seeing some shade thrown at Kyler Murray, and it's just kind of crazy because like they haven't done anything since minicamp, so nothing has happened to change the stock of either of these two players. Both of these guys are working out; they're working hard in between. You saw the video that we're going to get into as well too. These guys are working hard and going into training camp. Yeah, the battle's going to begin, right? It's going to be full on come training camp, but nothing has changed since minicamp. But somehow the narrative has shifted slightly as far as just how favorable maybe the media and even social media content creators have started to talk about Kyler Murray versus JJ. What do you think,
I,
Chris?
I don't think Kyler's comments did him any favors about the whole reps thing.
Mhm.
Coming out of that mini camp, I don't think.
But it was
I think
also
a lot of
taken out of context a little bit too, because
yeah,
he was asked like, "What's the most difficult thing?"
yeah,
So I mean, he had to come up with something there on the
yep,
spot, and that's what And I think that's an honest thing,
right,
So I mean, it wasn't like he like took that opportunity with the media to complain about the reps.
yep,
So I think, but that clip is what was used.
right, and of course that's what everybody's going to see. Just that 20-second clip. That's all that's going to spread around, and I think a lot of people just expected him to be Pro Bowler, veteran, whatever, former first rounder, first overall pick is going to come in and just sling it around, going to be, anointed starter quarterback no matter what. And then he makes that comment, and it's like, okay, that's going to be spread like wildfire. Now it's just and that's kind of what we're seeing now. It's like, okay, everybody's all of a sudden taking a step back now. Okay, is it truly a competition, or I mean, really, is it? Can JJ truly be the starter and Kyler take a back seat?
Yeah, and I don't think any of this talk has changed my stance on whether or not Kyler Murray is going to start. I think absolutely he's going to get an opportunity to start for this team before JJ. Uh, we have 1 year.
Yeah.
You will not see Kyler Murray probably play if JJ starts.
Right.
But that could happen, but I just really don't see that happening. But JJ's on the hook. I mean, we have his contract. We're able
Yeah.
to trade him. So you're going to give the keys to the 8-year veteran that's got 87 starts, and you're going to see what he's got in the tank before it becomes a possibility that, hey, the season's lost potentially, and now JJ, or he gets hurt, and now
Yeah.
JJ gets an opportunity to play. So I definitely think, this is, unless somehow Kyler absolutely looks horrible in training camp, this is absolutely his job to lose, to at least start the year
Yeah.
as the starting quarterback in my eyes. Shout out to Bob Sweet and Brev, Social Network. Make sure that you're checking him out too. Brev, he also writes for Purple PTSD and Heavy.com. Check him out again. Brevi Bright Lights, I believe, is also on X that you need to check for his X handle. So thanks for joining us, Brev. Definitely appreciate that. But yeah, I just don't think the shade, you can analyze his game, but I mean, there's also some good parts to Kyler Murray's game as well too. So yes, does he have some negative to his game? Yeah, absolutely. He can be frustrating to watch because he's going to have some plays where, maybe he's running around a little bit more than you would like, where, sometimes he's going to hurt you on offense with some of his running around, but he's also going to break some big plays. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to take some adjustment for our wide receivers to know how to adjust to him outside of the pocket and giving them more time for secondary or maybe even third routes for
Right.
them to run. Some of that's going to be chemistry as far as once they're out of the box and they've already ran their route, what to do next
Yeah.
and what he's going to do with the ball. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get to see some of that. Probably a little bit closer to either preseason. I don't know how much of that is unveiled. I think a lot of it is going to be when the Ravens and the Vikings get together for those joint practices. That's where you're going to hear more of it. But do we even make it to the joint practices without a starter name? And I don't know if we do. I think by the time we hit that first preseason game or shortly after, I'll be surprised if we don't have a starter named. I know there's been talk about, it possibly going until the start of the season, but that'd be crazy, wouldn't it, Chris?
No, we're gonna know by then.
I mean, that's just a long time to go. Splitting reps, not having the guy, and maybe not even installing a playbook that fits that starter
Yeah.
or some individual plays that fit that starter a little bit better.
Yeah.
So even though, um, to try to make the competition even, you're maybe running the playbook standard or vanilla, if you
Yeah.
will, because you're trying not to give an edge to either guy to see how they run at least your base playbook right now.
Yeah.
But eventually, there are going to be plays that you install that are specific for either Kyler or JJ if they're starting, right?
Well, you hear about it too, just with the offensive linemen. Like they have to get used to the cadence of the
Hmm.
quarterback too. It's
Yeah,
just they got to get used to that relationship as well.
absolutely. Absolutely. And, when we get closer to that first preseason game, I mean, we're going to have a feel. Every day is going to be analyzed with these guys in there. So we're going to have a feel of who's doing really well in camp. What'll make it interesting is if the way that mini camp ended with Kyler throwing a couple picks and,
Yeah.
JJ not making mistakes and looking good.
Yeah.
If that continues to be the trend in training camp,
Right.
then maybe it gets interesting. But until that happens, Kyler Murray's probably your day one starter.
Yeah, I think so. And to kind of almost go back to the Steve Smith thing a little bit more is the whole intermediate passing with Kyler is it was a volume thing in Arizona.
Mhm.
It wasn't a weakness thing. In 2024, which was one of his best seasons, he, according to PFF, was the 11th best passer in intermediate routes. Only 20% of his throws were intermediate and 8% of them were over the middle, but he was fairly accurate in intermediate throws, which is, Kevin O'Connell's, that's where he likes to throw the ball. So it was more of a volume thing than it really was a weakness. So it'll be interesting to see how well he actually does throwing it more often.
Kris, Bob Swede wants to know, do you have your own channel? I think he's talking about your YouTube channel. Are you doing streams?
I do not. I had it for a while, then just got rid of it.
And it's tough. Like you talked about
Yeah.
now, you got a young kid now. It does make it more difficult. I try to mix it up here, but obviously I'd love to have you on more here too. So any of you other streamers that are looking for some different guests, make sure that you're hitting Kris up when he can. Of course, we talked about that. It's hard to sometimes get the time to jump on, but Kris, you're always a good guest with us. The second topic I want to talk about is, Kyler Murray and Addison. We saw the workout video. It was really, really pretty quick, and he throws it's roughly a 50 to 60 yard bomb to Addison. That's the clip that. Now, I don't know if I buy that they've been working out for 2 months because minicamp wasn't even that long ago.
Right.
It's only a 5-week break, but supposedly they've been down in Dallas for 2 months. So that post was, kind of weird. And then you had the other one that came out, claiming that McCarthy was
That was his pro day.
that was his pro day. That McCarthy was balling out with Jefferson, Michigan, in Ann Arbor, and so some crazy stuff there. But so Jefferson did talk about how he planned to work out with JJ McCarthy and Kyler Murray. I find it interesting that you're not hearing or seeing videos like the Kyler to Addison with Jefferson. I find that interesting. Now, Jefferson and both McCarthy have a home in Minnesota, close to TCO. So most likely, those guys are getting a lot more practice together. That connection was evident that it needed work last season. So obviously they're getting that in. But I think it's really important. It's just interesting. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to create controversy. I think it's great that he's working with Addison. I think that's good to see that that's how Addison's spending his offseason. We saw Addison working out with Diggs. We saw him in other receivers, trying to improve his
Development.
game in the offseason. Yeah, so this definitely, he's in a contract year. So we know that we're going to at least, not saying that you're going to get his best stats ever, but you're going to get his best. His best effort this season. Whether or not he gets the balls his way, that's a whole different conversation. But for sure, good to see them working out. All I'm saying, just interesting that we haven't seen those same videos. Now, we haven't seen them from McCarthy and Jefferson either during this 5-week span. But I have to believe, Carson's also there too. There's been talk and that Jefferson plans to be at TCO a lot. Same with McCarthy. So obviously someone's throwing to Jefferson. I have to believe that that's a combination of, McCarthy, Wentz mainly, and maybe even Brosmer.
Yeah.
But those guys are throwing the ball and he's getting the work in mainly in Minnesota. I think if he was in Dallas at that same workout with K1 and Addy, you probably would have saw his name in the video. He's going to pop, or the highlight with Jefferson and Kyler is going to pop before Addison and Kyler. You know what I mean, Chris?
Yeah, we would have seen it.
So again, not creating any controversy, but what did you think about the video? What you saw? Is there anything to really take from that other than, hey, great that these guys are working out together and getting in some chemistry and some timing together?
Yeah, I don't think there's much you can take from it. It's just good to see. You'd like to see that. You like
Yep.
to see Kyler trying to build that relationship with his receivers. Like you said, you have to assume that JJ's getting it in, with McCarthy, with Wentz, probably Brosmer. But as far as Kyler and Addison, it's good to see, regardless of how often it's been. If it's been more than that, once or twice, it's just you want to see that from your veteran leadership.
Now, I'm not trying to create any rifts on this team, but if there was one to create, let's just say Jefferson sees this video, did he have the same invite? Was it, hey, Jed has come work out too? Or is he looking at this video like, you guys are working out? I have no idea. I have to believe that these guys are all talking, that, he said he was going to work out in the offseason. So, I truly believe Justin Jefferson that somewhere he's been working out with Kyler Murray, just somehow video hasn't surfaced. So I 100% believe in these 5 weeks that they probably have worked out together at some point. But this is the video that hit social media.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I mean, everything's videotaped nowadays, so you'd like to think that something would have popped up by now, but I mean, we haven't seen anything with him and McCarthy or Wentz or anything like
Right.
that. So it's,
Correct.
we can only go by what we see, and as of right now, that's the only one that's popped up. So that's all we can go by.
Absolutely. Yeah, Long Live Kuma says, I believe for one, Jed has said he didn't want to post, and two, this is also from the time they spent the last 2 months in Texas. They haven't even been there for 2 months though, and that's the thing. They
Yeah.
were up in Minnesota for minicamp, so they definitely haven't been in Dallas for 2 months. Plus, we saw Addison was working out with Diggs.
Yeah.
So yeah. I know.
Addison's.
I know,
say Addison's
Tim,
been
I know-
posting all these videos.
Yeah, I know Tim's playing here. But TJ PDX says Jefferson is working out in Texas with Arch Manning is what he's trying to say. Oh man. But I tell you what though. It's great to see these guys working out. I'm hoping, yeah, and I've checked Jefferson's social media. I've checked JJ McCarthy's social media. I've checked Wentz's social media. Nobody's, I've tried
Nothing.
scouring. I haven't seen anything of Jefferson doing workouts, but I gotta believe that all these guys are doing workouts. They're just being private about it. So this is just the video that somehow got leaked. So again, cool to see that these guys are working out, and I can't wait for the off season or to end and get into training camp, and we can actually see these guys. I can't wait to see them in person. Chris, I don't know if you're getting to training camp, but I'm going to be at training camp, and I can't wait to see these guys, not just the quarterbacks, but all these different matchups at camp. And that's the next topic that we're really going to get into, and that's going to be training camp takeaways. And in this segment, I really just want to talk about the different battles that you're excited to, because veterans and rookies, they're reporting here starting tomorrow to camp here. Everyone's starting to get there. And I just kind of want to get your battles. But first, I'm going to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors, Sports Legends USA. The Vikings Playbook podcast is brought to you by SportsLegendsUSA.com. Check out their website for all of your Minnesota Vikings legends, upcoming appearances, and signings. And remember to use code PLAYBOOK for 15% off in their shop for your favorite merchandise. Sports Legends USA, connecting sports legends with fans, one legacy at a time. A lot of cool legends that Sports Legends USA promotes, has merchandise for. Make sure that you go check out their website. Again, use that code PLAYBOOK and get that 15% discount on their shop at checkout. I know I've been eyeing several different products that they got there in the shop from Vikings Great. So whether you're looking at Jake Reed, Chuck Foreman, Fran Tarkenton, there's some good ones in there. Tommy Kramer, definitely go check it out, guys. Carl Eller, some good stuff in there. All right, guys. I want to get in this with Kris. If you got comments for us, what are the battles you guys want us to talk about? All right. Delton, hey, welcome to the channel, Delt. Appreciate it. He says, hey, dudes, next Saturday. Yeah, I think next Saturday maybe is when they start reporting. Yeah, preseason games in 2 weeks. Absolutely. The 15th is the first one versus the Giants.
I just turned down tickets to that game. A buddy texted me today. He's like, can you take the 2 tickets? He's like, I'll give them to you for free. And I'm like, dude, I wish I could. I was like, and I had to turn them down. I was bummed.
Hey, Delton, you get into training camp, Delton? If so, let me know. Hit me up. If any of you guys are going to be there, you guys want to meet up, say hi. I'll possibly be doing a few interviews while I'm there too. I'd love to get any of you guys on camera and get some quotes from you too and from what you're seeing at training camp. So if you're going to be there, make sure that you hit me up for sure. I won't be there entire time, but I'm definitely going there for a day or two while I'm there. And yeah, let's get into the training camp takeaways. Kris, again, if you guys want to throw some battles and comments that you guys want us to talk about, let's make sure that we do that. Kris, bring up one of the battles that you're excited to see when we come into preseason.
It's not so much actually as so much as the battles. It's the youngins who are going to step up.
The rookies.
Because the defense as a whole is getting to get a lot younger with, Allen, Hargrave, and Gennard all being gone. So I really want to see who's going to step up.
Yeah, and Delton, you said that he's going with one bar and the whole crew over there. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to put it on here, but yeah, let us know what days you're headed over there. That's cool, Delton. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, the rookies that I'm excited to see for sure, and that everyone wants to see with a bullet is Caleb Banks, because everyone wants to see is that foot healthy. So I mean, he stands out like a sore foot. He stands out because everyone he's the guy that we picked in the first round that people think that we overswung on,
reach,
and that he was a high risk reach, and he could be a high payoff, high risk type pick, but if he's healthy and if he's not going to re-injure that foot, which having SKOL talk about it, like, hey, a 7% that's pretty low. But if that stays healthy, I mean, he has the potential of at least some of the comparisons when we're talking like Chris Jones from Kansas City. That's high praise. That's high potential, for Caleb Banks. But the interesting thing, and one of the series I've been talking about with purpleptsd.com has been, the path to 53. And when I take a look at Caleb Banks and Dominique Orange, who was picked in the 3rd round, it's going to be interesting with those two guys. They're both rookies, and at least Dominique Orange has got rookie camp in with some reps with Flores' defense in minicamp. Whereas Caleb Banks is, we've seen him on the bike, maybe doing some stuff on the sideline, but he hasn't really done anything in this defense yet. So getting him up to speed, will we see him in any preseason games? I mean, highly unlikely, probably, to where they don't want to risk that. And is he ready? But at the same time, do we see him in week 1? I think there's a possibility that you see him maybe on the pup to possibly start the year, to where we've seen the Vikings be overly cautious with injuries, especially with somebody as high profile as your first pick in the first round of the 2026 draft. It's very possible that we see either Dominique Orange or someone else step up, maybe like Elijah Williams steps up into that role with Redmond and Levi Rodriguez. While the rookies are getting up to speed, and for Caleb Banks getting healthy. Thoughts?
I think that's the approach you take with Banks. I think you have to take it slow with him just to make sure he's 100% before you start putting him out there.
Dalton's going to be to 4 of them. Awesome. And you're going to be at the joint practices. Delton, that's going to be sweet. I'm jealous. I don't know
Putting
if
in
I'm
work.
Be at the joint practices, but I definitely want to be there. I'm not sure if I'm going to be at the joint practices. Very cool. Well, if any of you guys Vikings fans, if any of you guys are going, look for Delton. He's going to be there, man. Delton says Banks is 100% right now. Yeah, I mean, we're tracking that. It's just, it's different when you get hit. It's different when you got 300 plus dudes also pushing you around, and it'll be interesting. He wanted to drop a little bit of weight as well too, and Delton says he's taking half days. He might even go more. I like that. But yeah, we'll see. Is he up to speed in Flores' defense, and do they feel comfortable rolling him out there against the Packers in week 1? And that's what I'm worried about. Moving on to a different rookie that I'm excited to really see that's been getting a lot of praise is Jake Golday. Everyone's been talking super high on Jake Golday. Obviously, he's got 2 really good linebackers in front of him, but does he make an impact this year? I think, yeah, he's gonna be part of that rotation, so he absolutely is gonna get some play. I mean, heaven forbid we have some of the injury issues we had last year, but I still think with as much potential that he has, and we still haven't answered our depth on edge. It sounds like he's versatile enough to even possibly fill in some roles there. I think Golday is going to have the opportunity to be like that guy that really stands out as far as this rookie class, to get the most opportunity at reps the earliest.
Yeah, this year. Yep.
I mean, Caleb Banks, obviously we're hoping for that, but I mean, I don't know if they're going to roll him out there right away in week 1. And that's why I say, hey, Golday, out of the rookie class is probably going to get the most reps early. Just because they're going to have to rotate that linebacking core.
Yep.
Yeah. Another one that, I thought would be, maybe like a sleeper pick to me. And if Brev is here, he's going to love it.
Oh,
obviously Chuck Demmings,
Yep.
I think he has an opportunity. He's we're not even talking the 53, but I think he has an opportunity to be the 4th cornerback on this team. And that's saying something. Nudie kind of got pushed around a little bit on the depth chart last year, and he's got something to prove this year too. But I think Chuck Demmings has an opportunity to really make a run at that 4th cornerback spot for sure. And then Jacoby Thomas. If we don't see Harrison Smith, obviously Jacoby Thomas is gonna there's 3 safeties that are in front of him right now that he's got to try to break through. But Jackson, Ward, Metellus is a shoe-in. But between Ward and Jackson, can Jacoby Thomas break through and potentially be a starter without a Harrison Smith coming back, possibly?
And I wish Smith would give them an answer, sooner rather than later, because it really doesn't need to be dragged out this long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the team is. Well, it's interesting because we're still seeing with that cap.
Yeah.
What are we doing with it? So I fully expect us to spend that money, whether it's contract restructuring, extensions. Brian O'Neill is still going to be a training camp preseason talker. going into
He's
the
a hold-in,
season.
right? He's going to be a hold-in, somebody was reporting.
So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if that deal gets done. Can Nolan Teasley, work some magic? And I say work some magic because I'm in the camp that we should extend him. He's still young enough, and he's been one of the most dependable, not just offensive linemen, but players that we've had on this team and a captain. So he's a locker room guy too, that a glue guy. And I'm all about extending Brian O'Neill. He's still one of the top right tackles in the league, and absolutely extend him, get it done. Show teammates that you're taking care of star captain veterans on this team.
Right.
He's not an old player that you're throwing money that's going to hurt us later on down the road.
Right. Yeah, and I think they will probably like 2 years or so, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think that's a safe deal, both for Brian O'Neill and for the Vikings. I think he would be willing to do something like that, and he wants to stay here too. So I mean, it's possible you could get some kind of a team friendly type thing done with him, but definitely re-sign the guy for sure. All right, the next thing I want to talk about, training camp with special teams.
Oh
So
boy.
do we break through? Because Damon Claiborne, with his speed, he had 2 touchdowns at Wake Forest. Does he break through on this roster? I know he's going to be on the 53. He should be that third running back in my opinion, but does he break through and get more opportunities in special teams? I think so. I think he has the opportunity to be an additional, or maybe even the lead kick returner potentially. Miles Price did a pretty good job. But he's probably a better punt returner than he is a kick returner, maybe. But when you got 2 guys, it's good to have 2 guys too. You can get dinged up doing that pretty easily.
Right.
So it could be something where I think that we're going to see Damon Claiborne stick on the roster, playing time wise. He'll be on the 53, third running back. But I think he'll get some additional playing time with special teams. But the other player that's working in there, that'll be coming up in my next article for Path for 53, Vikings Path to 53, is going to be the receiver group. And, is Dylan Bell. Does he make this roster? I think if he doesn't make the roster, I think he's going to get snatched up somewhere.
Yeah, his name's popping up a lot of, like the underdog that is going to shock a lot of people. He's going to make the roster. There was people talking about him taking up, wide receiver number 4, like just shocking a lot of people and surpassing, Felton, Price, and coming out of nowhere.
Delton, how do you feel about, Claiborne, Price, and Dylan Bell in that mix? I mean, Price did a really good job last year, I thought. And he had a touchdown taken away from a holding call, and somebody can argue, hey, if the hold doesn't happen, he doesn't get there. But he was one of the best in the league. Probably should have been a Pro Bowler last year. How do you feel? Does Price has to be on this team, or are we reaching a little bit because of the potential of Dylan Bell, that he needs to be on this team, and Claiborne's able to take some of those responsibilities as well too? How do you feel about that, Delton? Delton also says, and he's talking about Brian O'Neill, that if Brian O'Neill wants to play hardball and hold a team hostage, I'm down to trade him. I don't think Brian O'Neill's a selfish player though. I definitely don't think that. But we got a lot of cap room, and he's already taking some of that cap, so he's not gonna he's not gonna kill us for the cap that we already have. But the question I have with the cap room that we have is, are we holding on to some of that because we think Harrison's going to come back for one more year? We still haven't addressed an obvious gap with edge. I've been pounding the table for Jadeveon Clowney as an option.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And just we're $20-some million of cap room. That easily would fit those 2 players, plus possibly an extension. If you had to do one and you had to front load some money early this year, you could do that, so it doesn't hurt you as much down the road. 27 kind of clears the slate. There's a lot of people that are playing for contracts this year. So definitely going to be interesting. Could we see an addition midway through camp? It definitely looks like right now we're going to start camp without making a transaction like that. But, once we get into some of these days, injuries happen too. Do we see some moves made? And maybe that's what they're holding on to some money for. Thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, well, I would have liked to see him pick up somebody by now, on the edge. Like you said, Clowney. I thought he would have definitely been a great fit to get him in before camp opened up.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a spot they need to address.
Delton talking about speaking return wise, there's the competition. Yeah, he's talking about DeMond, Claiborne, and Price. He says, I think if anything, Felton is a guy that should be nervous. Wide receiver group is going to be interesting because your fourth guy is Jennings, right? That you just added. So, or third guy is Jennings.
Third guy, yeah.
Your fourth guy, is your fourth guy Ty Felton?
Felton or Price,
or is it Price?
Yeah.
But it's not even that. We have some really good wide receivers that have been looking good, at least at mini camp. That when you saw some of these wide receivers run some drills, I'm going to be honest, Dante Fleming looks fast when he runs drills. So some of somebody can speak up if I'm wrong, but I mean that doesn't mean that he's, a really good receiver. I'm just saying, watching him run routes, Dante Fleming looks really sharp when he's running routes, and it kind of pops off the screen a little bit. So that was kind of surprising to see, but that's kind of a deep wide receiver group where it could be interesting to see whether or not we hold 6 wide receivers, because you got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Juwan Jennings, Miles Price, if we're holding on to our kick returner, right? Ty Felton, Dylan Bell. Do we hold 6? Do we hold 6? And then, you got Jashawn Jones that's there, and Dante Fleming. And like I said, Dante Fleming looks really sharp. 5 is what we kept last year. Do we keep 6? Because we really like Dylan Bell, or we really still like Ty Felton. It's going to be interesting to see if it happens, for sure. Bob Sweet says Claiborne is fast. I want to see him in the preseason. Absolutely. I think he's going to get the opportunities to do that. They're going to get him some handoffs for sure. And I think he could be a change of pace back. We know that Aaron Jones has had issues staying healthy for a complete season.
Yep.
So you also want to make sure that you have him ready. To me, the outside guy looking in is, unfortunately, on the running back side of the thing is going to be Xavier Scott. He had some moments in preseason last year where he looked really good. Even had some good screen plays in the regular season when he got a little bit of work. But DeMond Claiborne is going to push him down the depth chart, and I don't think we keep 4 running backs plus Max Bredesen at fullback.
Fullback, yeah.
Any other training camp takeaways, things that you want to watch other than quarterbacks and what we talked about, Chris?
Quarterbacks, what? Yeah, what are we
right?
gonna do? What are we gonna do at a punter? We got 2 punters. What are we gonna do there?
You bring up a good point. It was interesting because at least initially everybody was, hey, Johnny Hecker, like,
Yeah.
home run. We have replaced our punter. We got Johnny Hecker. He's been in the league for a long time. And then Brett Thorson appears. So, yeah, I mean, very possible. I mean, now, let me ask you this. Now, if Johnny Hecker and Brett Thorson are close, Thorson's the young guy that you could have on this roster for years. Do you take the young guy, or do you keep the veteran Johnny Hecker?
That's Hecker. I think he had a down year last year too, if I recall correctly. Like, I don't think he was very good last year. So I'd probably just run with the young guy. Just why not see what he's got? I mean, I feel like you could pick up punters throughout the season if he does struggle.
Yeah, it's going to be something to watch because we've kind of had a thing with bringing in punters to challenge.
Mm.
You know, um, this could be a young guy that we have for at least multiple years if he's going to challenge Johnny Hekker. And I agree with you, Johnny Hecker's getting a little bit older. This is probably one of his last seasons as a punter, I would say. I know he's been a good punter for the majority of his career, but he's also up there in age. And if you got a young punter that you think can really develop in this league, and and it's really close, and it's a coin toss, I agree with you, Chris. I probably
Yeah.
go with the younger guy that's also cheaper.
Yeah. And
Johnny
also how,
Hekker.
how well are they as a holder too, That's
True.
also
That's going to
important,
play into it. That's
Yeah.
true. That's going to play into it for sure. Very good point. Norris, welcome. Appreciate it. Saw you jump in. Appreciate you making it. All right, guys, we're getting there. We're getting close. So start thinking about it. I'm going to make sure that I show you guys now because I want you guys to, we're not doing it yet, but I want to make sure you guys start getting your picks in. Make sure that you're following us on YouTube because, again, we're getting close to that Jordan Addison giveaway. You can't win it if you're not a subscriber on YouTube. So Vikes Playbook on YouTube. Make sure that you're subscribing, guys. Please make sure that you're subscribing because I want you guys to win that and have an opportunity at it. And the next thing we're going to go ahead and do, guys, is we're going to look at doing a card break here pretty soon. But I want you to get your names in, your picks. So we're doing a pack of absolute football, guys. There's going to be 5 cards, but you got to pick your player. You can't pick the player that someone else has already picked. So go ahead and look at the chat in YouTube. So if you're on X watching this, you can't comment on X. You got to go ahead and jump on Vikes Playbook on YouTube quick and throw your player in here. The player you pick, this could be a kaboom. This could be a $500+ card. Could be worth thousands, depending on what's pulled. So please make sure that you go ahead and throw your player in the comments. So if your player is picked, NFL player, this is a 2025. So 2025 absolute football. Go ahead, throw your player in the comments. Again, if somebody picks, for instance, Kyler Murray in the comments, no one else can pick Kyler Murray. That the first person to respond with that gets him. Jake Anderson picks Dart. Jackson Dart is his guy. That's the very first one going. While you guys are getting your players in the comments, Chris, if you want to play along, you can too. Go ahead and type in chat if you would like. If your player is picked, I will mail out the card to you. You win it, even if it hurts my heart. If it was a Jackson Dart, kaboom. And you make I'm at least going to make some clips out of it, I guess. But you get the money. You get the player. TJ PDX says Travis Hunter in the comments. But while you guys are doing that, Bob Penix for Bob Swede. Bob Swede, Michael Penix. Did I say Bob Penix? I see Bob Swede. I want to say Bob. Michael Penix for Bob Swede. JSN for Norpheus. Go ahead, get your comments in. Make sure that you get your NFL player in. Jake Anderson says someone take Cam Ward. For sure. Get your picks in. All right, we're going to move on to one more topic that I want to talk about just real quick. And, of course, that's going to be your favorite segment, guys. All right, so what's going on in the NFC North? One of the tidbits that came out, it was just kind of funny, is ML Football had this post that talked about Micah Parsons having a foot fetish. And, of course, Micah Parsons came back and said it's true with, like, the emoji, like almost like a embarrassed emoji. And it was just kind of funny. So there was a lot of different comments, a lot of he had fun with it. I guess he came out and admitted it right away. But it was just kind of funny. Packers definitely taking a little bit of he came with facts with the emoji on here. I'll make sure that here I'll bring it up here on the screen so you guys can see it. But yeah, it just kind of something weird. So for Packers, typical Packers stuff, right? Instead of people not playing for their team or facing some charges, instead they got Micah Parsons. He loves toes. He's got a foot fetish, and he says facts. So that was kind of something that some of the other NFC North teams and social media creators kind of had fun with during the week, kind of giving different Packers fans a little bit of guff. So just a quick poke at Rev Trev NFL. What's going on in Wisconsin? They're feet guys. The feet guys. So it is what it is. We're gonna go back to the NFL. SKOL State of Mind, D Woods, make sure you get your man in here. Northfield says foot fetish. He says that's cringe. Yeah, it's just kind of funny. He owned it. He said facts, and everyone's into different stuff. Apparently, he's into feet, I guess. Kris put it in private chat, but I'll go ahead and throw this in. You want to throw this in the main chat, Kris? Your pick.
Oh, I don't have the YouTube channel up. Let me see if I can pull it up here.
All right, so Kris has Josh Allen, so I'll do it for you. Delton, did you pick? I didn't see your pick, Delton. Delton, D Woods, make sure you get in here. Did he just got? I think I guess he's just a feet guy. Go Pack all day. Says Packers are taking back the North. Yeah, they're diving in feet first for sure. They're going right back for it. I know Rev Trev NFL. I told them that they're at least starting 0-1. So we're gonna get you guys in week 1 for sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do the pack rip real quick. I'll run through some of the players that are taken real quick, unless there's someone that wants to jump in. Jackson Dart's gone. Travis Hunter, Michael Penix, JSN's gone, and I got Josh Allen that's gone. Anyone else that wants to jump in for the rip? Again, if I pull the card, doesn't matter the value, you get the card. I mail it to you guys. All right, let's go ahead and do the rip. Absolute Football 2025. All right. So the first card we have, and of course it's backwards too. Gotta love that. I'm gonna do my best to shift this around. So the first player we have is DJ Giddens. Is that first one? DJ Giddens, rookie card. Okay, next one. Why are some of these backwards? These are the only two that are backwards too, but whatever. All right, so the next one that we have here, Woody Marks, rookie card. Okay, the next one we got after that, we go Bears, Chicago Bears. DJ Moore. Still no winner yet. After that, man, look at that. Sticking with the Bears. Rome Odunze. Nobody picked Rome either. Because I can see the last one, I'm going to pull that one up. It was DJ Moore again. Okay. The very last card in the pack, it's none other than Marvin Harrison Jr. I'll go through all 5 cards again real quick. Didn't have anyone pick a winner in this set. Got a couple rookie cards in here. But for the most part, seems like a pretty plain Jane pack. But we had no big hits, no kaboom. Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, DJ Moore twice. Rookie card, with Woody Marks, and then a rookie card for DJ Giddens. So that was our absolute pack this time. No big hits in it, no big names, but make sure that you guys are following every time. Not MHG. Yeah, you said JSN. No Jackson Smith and Jigba. Instead, it was Marvin Harrison Jr., Bob Swede. But next time when we do this, I'll have a different pack for you guys, and hopefully we have a winner. You had 5 different cards and opportunities, had some really good guesses, especially for some valuable cards out there. So you guys, just unfortunately didn't hit today, and there was no big cards that you missed on, fortunately, at least 2. I know if it was a Kaboom and say it was a Kaboom Cam Ward and nobody picked Cam Ward, I think I think some of you guys would have been freaking out, especially Jake Anderson, who told you guys to pick Cam Ward, right? So that's what we have for today's show. But I want to give another shout out to Kris and make sure that you guys are following Kris on X, and that's SKOL Gallerhorn. Go ahead and follow Kris Shewokis on X. Kris, any last words that you want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to everyone?
Hey, no, just thanks everybody that followed me. Thanks for having me on, Steve. Always glad to hop on. Hopefully I get on more during the season. Just ready to get the season rolling. Let's go.
Absolutely. And it's going to be fun at training camp. I got some good guests that are coming up after this. I got Darren from over at Purple Dopes with Hopes that's going to be joining me here coming up. I got D Woods. D Woods is coming up on the 8th. He's going to be joining me from SKOL State of Mind. So make sure that you guys are tuning in for that on August 8th. And then on the 15th, I got Rap, who's going to be joining me when I'm fresh back from training camp. So I'll be on with D Woods from SKOL State of Mind right before I go from training camp, getting some inside knowledge as far as what he wants me to look for. And then after I'm back from training camp, I'm going to have Rap on. We'll be talking about what I saw with my own eyes once I'm back from training camp. And that'll be a fun one on the 15th. So Vocal Vike on the 15th. So Kris, thanks for coming on again. Everyone else, thanks for joining. Definitely appreciate it. Big thank you for me. Make sure that you're following and subscribing on Vikes on YouTube. I have that Jordan Addison giveaway, that autographed jersey, just waiting to go to somebody. It's a Winter Warrior jersey. Someone's going to get it. After that, I'm going to announce another giveaway. I think I'm going to go helmet on the next one. So make sure that, get this to 250, guys. Once my subscriber gets to 250, I'm going to do a live giveaway on one of my podcasts for the jersey, so you guys can see it's a fair giveaway, and somebody's going to get that shipped to them in the mail. So it's going to be pretty exciting. But for Vikings Playbook, this has been myself just pouring my heart out as far as my love of purple, and of course Kris joining me tonight. Can't wait for training camp. We got 1 week, guys, and then it starts. Delton's going to be there on day 1 on August 1st. So can't wait to see maybe some feedback that we get from Delton as far as what he saw on that first day of training camp. But this has been Vikings Playbook. As always, your Sunday starts here, guys. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next Saturday. SKOL Vikings.